welcome to the second game of the evening. Up this time is Sonic Frontiers. Do I really have to explain who Sonic is?
If we do, I have failed.
He's blue furry Mario, right?
Something along those lines. And yeah, Sonic Frontiers is his latest mainline outing. First Sonic game since 3D Sonic game since Sonic Forces in 2017.
Yep. And oh no.
Well, we're not talking about Sonic Forces now, are we?
Yeah, that's a trip to hell we may make one day, but that's not this day.
That's your trip to hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, I bring up Sonic Forces because that was the signaling of the end of the booster. Or at least that's what the higher-ups at Sega and Sonic Team have said. Sonic Frontiers is supposed to be the first game in a new era. I'm not exactly sure if that has a defined name yet, but this is the open zone era, let's call it. Because, this is open world, or to quote Sonic Team, open zone Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, because there are 5 islands, and you cannot really freely go between them.
I guess technically 4.5, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are multiple open world zones that you cannot just freely go between whatever you want.
So it's kind of got the setup of like a PlayStation 2 era open world game, with that kind of, you're open world, but you've still got levels. Reminds me a bit of Simpsons Hit and Run, actually. But with that in mind, over to Petty Fan for the review proper.
So yeah, as somebody who also played Forces, Sonic controls much better. He doesn't jump like he has a 3-ton, weight strapped to him at all times. Movement's fluid. Pretty much everything you would want. There are still some weird hiccups. Like, while the light speed dash is back, you can't use it for like a pseudo boost anymore because you stop dead once the ring trail is done.
Also, in some of the videos I've seen, there's some awkwardness regarding when you snap into a 2D section.
Yeah, gravity doesn't know what the fuck to think of your existence sometimes.
Yeah. Also worth noting, another difference from this game and Sonic Forces is they actually have level design this time around.
Yes, and it's a little weird.
Yeah.
So, I will say, from what I've seen, and Petty Fan, you can back me up on this, I don't feel like I was totally wrong in predicting that Sonic in the open world would result in a lot of pretty big, relatively empty spaces in between various points of interest, most of which are just little tokens or something.
Yeah.
But, and we'll get back to this, I assume, I think that the design that they chose works for the story they wanted to tell you.
And at least with the levels that they have, there's enough of a variety.
Mm-hmm. You mean the
data worlds or whatever?
Yeah.
Would those play Sonic?
Most of them are literally sections from other Sonic games.
Yep.
just reskinned in one of 4 skins.
Yeah, there's the Green Hills skin, the Sky Sanctuary skin, Chemical Plant, and I think this is supposed to be City Escape?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I guess as far as Sonic's movement rules in this one, you can only dash 1 time in air, which is kind of weird. Homing attack is free like always. I don't believe you can do an air dash, but that's about all you can really do. Well, you can also down drop.
Plus the double jump is here.
Yes. Though the double jump is it's not quite as obscene as it was in Keller's, but I guess I'd still say it's required. But that's just because a lot of the jumps are really tight, and that's more for the open world sections. Or open zone. Sonic does level up and stuff, but those level ups do not carry through to the data worlds. So, like right now, Sonic's maxed out here in the open zones.
I mean, the data worlds don't usually have enemies worth mentioning.
Fair, but it does help with your like speed and there's some other stats like defense. Yes, Sonic has defense now. And there's a lot going on. As far as like leveling up goes, like for like there's like combat leveling up, like your power du jour this time around is the Psy Loop, where you can use it on various like world puzzles or enemies or what have you. And then there is the Phantom Rush ability, where when Sonic maxed out his combo meter, you do 1.2 times more damage. And there's also a cool like visual effect of like Sonic and after images and stuff like that. There's a lot more like combat focused abilities in this one compared to previously, where your only fighting option was jump on a motherfucker. And there's a lot more like combat focused enemies to go on with that. And like enemies with a gimmick like this wheel thing that if you can stay away from it, it will explode into like more experience or rings or what have you. I guess the big thing about the open zones that I can't really show you because my playthrough is completed, there are like little mini challenges in all the areas. Some of them just net you like rings, some of them Chaos Emerald.
A lot of them reveal chunks of the map.
Yeah, well, most of it's map chunks. And there's just like various, objectives. Psyloop, random thing on field. Defeat certain enemy. Do like dodging mini games, because the dodge is back. And yeah, just a whole bunch of different stuff like that. Like, there's enough variety to, kind of keep you engaged, but you'll definitely, if you try to, like, 100% it like I did, you'll definitely be like, okay, this is kind of getting old. Music is overall good, because if there ever comes a day in hell where Sonic music sucks, I don't want to be a part of that future.
I mean, there was
Granted-
Chronicles.
We don't talk about
Granted-
Chronicles in this house.
Granted, that might depend on your tolerance for Crush 40.
Fair. Graphics are awesome. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Drop Dash is back. It's overall useless once you max out your speed and, like, boost, but it's still pretty good to, like, glitch around surfaces you shouldn't be able to walk up or run up. So kudos on letting that through QA. As far as leveling up your various stats, there are 3 different things to look around for. There's the, like, heart fruit, which can be used to increase defense, I believe. And then there's another one that increases your attack power. Then there is the little, I think they're calling them Chocos? Cocos, yes. That, you can use them to increase your maximum ring count. And,
They kind of look like your usual overworld, like Koroks and Breath of the Wild,
yeah,
except for
I
the
actually
difference is
can
that
pull
Cocos
them
are
up, I
not
believe.
bespokely placed or limited.
Yeah.
And
They
in
are,
fact, you can get almost as many of whatever power-up things you want by fishing for them.
yeah. Like, there is a fishing minigame with Big the Cat.
Of course there is.
And yeah, there is, once you unlock that and get most of the like, get a bunch of fishing coins, it kind of becomes useless to, like, meander around the map a whole lot, because you can just go fishing and get everything you need. I guess that's kind of a downfall, but I mean, it's an easy way to finish the game, so how do I get to another?
You okay?
Oh no, I was trying to remember how to change maps. I think that's the last area. I guess you guys have any questions? Oh yeah, these are the little totally not Korok bastards.
Yeah, they kind of fade into existence if you stand still for long enough.
Yeah.
It's eerie. Which kind of fits their purpose in the story, which I know you shouldn't talk too much about the story, but I think you should talk a little bit about, like, some traits of the story, because I think this Sonic game has an unusually good story.
Yeah, well, this one is definitely a lot more actually grown up than some of the other stories. Like, it's definitely less Saturday morning cartoon than what we've had, in games prior. But at the same time, not trying to be super edgy. Shadow the Hedgehog, you know, Hot Topic
And
reject bullshit.
and whatever the fuck Sonic 06 was going for.
I was gonna say the thing about Forces, where between stages 1 and 2, Sonic spends 6 months getting allegedly tortured by Eggman, and then once he gets rescued, everything is fine.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out it was like torture.
The air quotes
Yeah.
torture.
Yeah.
No chili dogs, and you can't run around.
Probably.
But yeah, of the islands, for most of the islands, you have to find memory tokens for a character.
Yeah.
It's 3 of Sonic's friends plus an original one for this game.
Yeah.
And the discussions are actually kind of thought-provoking and involve actual potential character growth. And then for Eggman himself, there are memos of his that you can buy at the fishing thing, which is the only thing you can only get there, I believe.
Yeah, it's the only way to get them. You can't get them in gameplay.
And that has some interesting character stuff too.
It kind of puts a lot of things in the ending into a little bit more context, but that involves spoilers we're not going into. I guess one of the cool things about this one is all the boss battles involve Supersonic. So, if you like playing as Supersonic, boy howdy. I would show that off, but the only one I can show off is the, final boss, because as far as I can tell, there's no way to replay boss fights, at least yet. I believe Sega has mentioned they want to add a, boss rush mode in, so if they do that, cool.
Yes. It is worth noting that at time of recording, I don't think Sega has unleashed any of their DLC roadmap for Sonic Frontiers.
They have.
I'm talking about the big stuff that they.
They've announced the roadmap. They haven't announced much of the content in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like they've announced the roadmap in general terms.
Yeah.
Like, we're supposed to get new characters, and I think we can guess that, the first DLC character is going to be like Tails or Knuckles.
Yeah. Let's see.
But, we don't exactly know what they're going to be releasing when.
Fair.
So, but we do know it's going to be substantial and apparently free.
Yes. At least that's what they've said so far. We don't know if every bit of DLC is going to be free or if it's just going to be the, first 3 updates and then they may make more paid DLC later on.
Right.
I guess it really depends on how well Frontier does.
I mean, Frontiers has done really well. I think it sold 2 million copies, maybe 3.
Something like that. But you know what I mean. Like,
Hey, it's just, yeah. My point is, it's a Sonic game, and even the bad Sonic games still sell really well.
There's a reason why Sega has not stopped making Sonic games.
Yeah, at least they usually do. Like, Sonic Forces, I think, had fairly middling sales as well. That's why Sonic went on ice for about 5 years. Also why we probably didn't get more Sonic Mania games. Like, you cannot tell me that Sonic Team wasn't feeling upstaged by Sonic Mania. Because, they produced Sonic Forces.
Well, and Forces is one of the biggest cases of the really shallow edginess.
I'm not even talking about the edginess. Like, Sonic Forces is the most mid-game ever that they've produced. Like, it's not even terribly
Well, yeah, but the game is
bad.
really a secondary feature. Altogether, it comes packaged with a really good Sonic OC creator.
It turned out to not to be the selling point that that Sega thought it was, because
Oh yeah, original the character is totally superfluous in the narrative and basically does not do much except for hold hands with Sonic.
yeah, it's also the Sonic fan base already has their OCs.
I know.
Just type in your name, the Hedgehog, and you will find your OC.
I think I was disappointed at how mild mine was.
I mean,
Like-
I have a fairly common name, so I at least have a bunch to pick from if I want one.
This is a venture I have never done because I am not going to willingly look up Sonic fan art. I
Fair
respect my
enough.
name too much. Like,
Look,
also,
I was a teenager. Leave me alone.
First Google result for Adam the Hedgehog is pink with a Bokuto wearing blue and yellow outfit with a yellow head. It's actually pretty good.
my mind is still going. I am glad I have never done this. Look, I know, in general terms, the eldritch horrors that lurk within.
Oh, actually,
I don't.
Oh,
I
sorry.
don't need my eyeballs stuffed with it.
So
Anyway.
right now, what's happening is the Starfall kind of event, like what happens with Breath of the Wild during a blood moon, where all the enemies respawn.
Yeah, it resets the enemies, and also you get this really weird slot machine thingy when you pick up Sparklies.
Yeah.
And it gives you a bunch of bonuses.
Yeah, I guess they're supposed to be modeled after some kind of Japanese candy. I forget the name of. Like star sugar thingies.
Competo?
That's right, yes. And yeah, you can get more rings, cocos, coins for the fishing minigame. Whole bunch of good stuff. And yeah, I think I'm starting to run out of stuff to talk about. Game's fun.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess before I segue into pricing, I do have to mention that Petty has been playing the PC version.
Oh god, we're gonna bring up the de novo problems, aren't we?
Yeah, we do need to mention that as well.
Yeah, I've had a couple
Okay.
crashes, which I can probably attribute to de novo being de novo. It's not been as
but
bad as the implementation on Forces, but it's still not great.
Okay, but the big thing when it comes to de novo is performance.
Yep.
It's like if you're getting hitches and shit like that in Sonic Frontiers, the PC version, it's because of that. Also worth noting,
And it gets and in this game that can be pretty notable because you can go very fast.
Yeah.
And go in a very long ways in a direction you don't intend to potentially if you.
Yeah. So, also with that in mind, we are not covering the Switch version of Sonic Frontier.
Oh god.
Yeah. Let's just say that's
that exists,
own...
and there's a reason why it's $20 cheaper than every other version.
Yeah, it's the end result of trying to port a game that's aiming for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One X to something like the Nintendo Switch.
I will say valiant effort, but ooh.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, in terms of pricing, well, this is a full-priced game. Or rather, I guess it's the old tier of full-price games. I have to
Yeah.
preface that now.
Because
Like,
fuck you, industry.
well, I guess that's a fucking topic of discussion we need to have at some point.
Yeah.
Because, okay, yeah, this game is $60.
If this was
And,
70, fuck no.
well, here's the thing. It is 70 for the digital deluxe edition. And what do you get in the digital deluxe edition? That comes with the Explorer's Treasure Box, which contains useful items for your adventure, Amy's memory tokens, a portal gear, Chaos Emerald Vault keys, additional gloves and shoes for Sonic, and a digital art book with a 25-track digital mini soundtrack.
One note
Okay,
about
the art book soundtrack, and I guess maybe the alternate gloves and shoes is something. The rest of the stuff is relatively easy to get in game.
one big note about that digital deluxe DLC. If you already start the game and get it later, you can't use any of it. You have to activate the DLC before you start the game.
Yeah, there's
That's
a big
dumb.
old warning. Yeah, there's a big old warning on the Steam page. Please install the Adventurer's Treasure Box and Explorer Treasure Box before starting a new game. Please note that the contents will not be validated if it is installed after completing the tutorial.
Yup.
They're doing capitalizations here. Please ensure that the most recent patch is installed before installing DLC. So, you have been warned, I suppose.
Mhm.
Anyway, Petty, is this game worth $60?
Yeah. As well as I should preface by saying, if you're a Sonic fan or want to get into Sonic, sure. If you have no idea who the fuck Sonic the Hedgehog is, I don't think this would be the best jumping in point. But
I would be like, I'm assuming that if you don't know Sonic the Hedgehog, you don't know video games.
I mean, fair.
Look, once again, my brother's kids know Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh right, I almost forgot to mention the DLC, I guess, collaborations. There's
Yeah.
the Monster Hunter, I guess, Armor DLC. It doesn't do anything like in game. It's just aesthetic. And there is the Sonic Adventure 2 soap shoes from back in the day, and the holiday cheer suit because this came out near the holidays. Um. Also, when you beat the game once, you unlock arcade mode. So, if you just want to do the data stages, rock on.
Ray?
I mean, not the worst thing in the world to give you as completion bonus, right? And yeah, I think that's it.
All right. That will do it for Sonic Frontiers. So be sure to tune in after the break as the Golics will be reviewing Boltzmann's Brain.